Oh yeah, I mean we've had an outstanding time. It's a beautiful city. It's been a great trip for our support staff. Everybody that was able, fortunately, to come on the trip with us and their families. It's very very friendly city. A lot of activities, of course, for young children and old children too. And the bowl people have been just unbelievable. I mean it's been a really really first class experience for us, and we're excited about being in Florida and playing a bowl game. I'm not sure. I think it's the first game that we've ever played in Florida. So it's a big deal for us. I mean, we're trying to be a national brand, and we've had a bowl game in California, Arizona, and now Florida. So we're trying to step out there a little bit.
All right, we'll open it up to Q&A this time.
Art, what have you seen from Chris Johnson since you've come back from bowl practices? Just kind of his development.
Yeah, he's done a good job. He really has. We really love Chris's, just his attitude, his personality, the way he cares about the other members of our football team, and his skill level is really good. So it's a situation where it's like I've always said, you have a lot of money, but you can't buy experience. And the only way you can get it is to get on the field and play it and do it. And he's gained a little bit over the last month or so, but there's still some unknown qualities there that we've got to kind of filter through. And I think we've hopefully done as a staff a good job of allowing him to be successful tomorrow, and that's the main thing. We're trying to scheme to him a little bit that's going to help him, feel comfortable with what he's doing. But he's a guy that we have a lot of confidence in, as our players do, and he'll certainly, fight his tail off for us.
Coach, I know you've been asked variations of this a million times, but down from North Carolina, how is it going into a boxing match, missing so many of your biggest punchers, and does that make the rest of the team that much more motivated?
I mean, I honestly haven't been asked it that often, but I'll tell you the strange thing about it is that if you got a bowl of cereal and you wanted bacon and eggs, you eat the cereal. I mean, we got what we want. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where we are. So we really have not even discussed it, viewed it at all, with the staff or with our team, because I mean, it is what it is, and we got good players. We got guys that we recruited that we have a lot of confidence in, and it's like I always tell them, if I give you one thing, what would it be? And they better say a chance. And that's what they've been given. So we have some guys that have been given a chance and an opportunity to help our football team, and that to me is, I find it very inspiring, to answer your question. I look at it from that standpoint. It's an inspiring situation for us as a football team and as a program.
Coach, back here to the left.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, this is the number one. You guys have the number one offense in America, but those last several games, when you were missing a lot of those players, you weren't putting up the 60 points a game or 600 yards a game. But now, you talked about the experience. Now that Chris has the experience and you've gotten a few weeks to prepare here with the guys that you're going to have, do you think we'll see that kind of number one offense again and glimpses of that and be able to put up those type of numbers again?
I don't. I mean, first of all, you casually say we've had the number one offense, which you kind of take hold, when you mention something like that, because that's a great tribute to our football team and our program for the past 3 years in Power 5 conferences. So that's a big deal, and we're not trying to be that, first and foremost. It's just the way things have ended up with our scheme and with our talent level and with the things that we've been able to do. So what we're going to try to do is just do what we can do tomorrow. We're not concerned about yards, and being the number one offense. We're concerned about winning the football game. And so, our mindset's a little different than maybe it might have been late September, but that's the reality of the football team. So we feel good about, what we've got going into the game tomorrow, and that's, going to be to fight our tails off and try to scratch out a win.
Coach Briles, a lot has been made about the offenses in this up here front. A lot has been made about.
I'm admiring their ACC deal here. I mean, ours. We've got to upgrade a little bit. I don't know if Jeff's in here or not, but that's a big time deal they have right there. That actually is kind of a step above. So I'm kind of impressed with that. I'm sorry, where you at?
Right here, Coach.
Okay.
A lot has been made about the offenses coming into this game, yours and theirs. What have you seen now with a week and a half or so to be able to watch film on North Carolina from Coach Fedora and that senior quarterback, Marquise Williams? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, he's really good. And they do a really, really good job offensively. Larry has always – he's been around great offenses all his career, the last, 15, 20 years. And really, even when he was at Baylor back in the mid-'90s, when Chuck Reedy was the coach, they were very good offensively and, did a lot of things. So he's done it, and he's done it his way, and he's kind of mixed in a lot of things that he's picked up over his career. And, they got a good thing going. They're a really good football team. I mean, when you watch tape, you talk about watching tape. I mean, it's 14, it's 21, it's 28, 35. I mean, they're scoring, and they're scoring in a hurry and in bunches. And they've done a really good job on the other side of the ball with Gene, and so they have a complete football team. When you get to bowl games at this level, that's what you're gonna mix and match all the time. I mean, what you're gonna get are two really good football teams that are playing at a high level, and they've really. They knocked off 11 straight throughout the season. So that's very impressive because it's hard to win every week. You step on the field but do 11 weeks straight. It's pretty impressive.
Coach, you guys said, a lot of people say you have similarities right here. Similarities on the field, but you have similarities off the field as well. Larry was talking about his long history with Baylor and recruiting kids that you used to coach in high school. And were you aware of that back then, of who he was and your history? And can you talk a little bit about the history between you two?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, honestly. I guess when you're fortunate enough to coach as long as I've coached, and be in the same state for that long, you can cross a lot of paths with a lot of people. And Larry is certainly a guy that, or a man that I remember from, really back in the early 90s, about 93 is when the time frame he's talking about. We had a quarterback named Brandon Sturridge that they were recruiting at Baylor at the time. Ended up going to Tennessee and then finished up at A&M. But that's really my first time to get around him. And he was, a pretty young guy then. I was a little younger myself, but he was probably 30, 31 years of age, and just a real class guy. He's a Texas guy. He's done a great job all his career. He's worked hard to get to where he's at, and he's done a great job everywhere he's been. So that to me is the most impressive thing. It's kind of like being a player. You get a player, what do you do with it? Do you make plays or do you disrupt? Are you an asset or a liability? He's been an asset everywhere he's been. So that's an impressive thing to me about his career. He's been given a chance. He's earned a chance. He's taken advantage of it and made it work.
Over here on the right, Coach.
Okay.
Art, with bowl games, do you look at it as a chance to do what you do or to add some wrinkle? You got time to put stuff in, but you like to do what you do. And does that change with all the injury situations?
We've kind of reverted back to page one a little bit. I think if you were kind of at a level that you'd been on for a 4 or 5 week span, it would allow you to maybe throw a new wrinkle or two in there. But, we've quite honestly kind of had to go back and, dust it off and start over again. And like I mentioned earlier, to me it is inspiring, and I think it's something that, I think potentially is going to help us on down the road, in 16, 17, and 18, because we've kind of been, thrown in the corner, and we can either turn and face it, or we can, start walking out. And so we're trying to figure out some things to do that can help us have an opportunity to, especially from the offensive side of the ball, move the football and, hopefully put some points on the board.
Coach, in terms of the bowl games as well, last 2 years haven't gone in your favor. How hungry is this team just to bring home kind of a bowl win to cap it off?
I mean, you're hungry, when you play Northwestern State, University in September. The hunger's never gone, regardless of, there's not, hey, this is a big game, we got to win it, and we feel like we really need to play well. And then this one, it's just okay, we're going to get out there and, do what we do. I mean, that does not exist in our world. Every time we step on the field, practice field or game field, you have to be your best. And, you're representing a lot of entities, and yourself's usually the last one. So, we're going to play hard. We're going to play hard for our football team and for our university, and that's what we always do.
Coach, the one thing that hurt your team big time, the last few games, turning the football over, interceptions, fumbles. how important is that to hold that football and keep that football, and also have the defense force some turnovers as well?
No, it's critical. I mean, we can point to a lot of things, down the stretch here, and to me, that's the number one thing. I mean, that's from a reality standpoint. That's really where it's at. We can say this, that, and whatever, but you hang on the football, you get turnovers, you got a good chance to win the football game, and we haven't done that. Particularly the last 3 football games, and that's kind of been our demise, so to speak. So, yeah, I mean, but we know that, and everybody that watches football knows that. I mean, I think you could watch a couple of games just over the last 2 or 3 days and see, maybe the game could have gone another way if somebody doesn't turn the ball over on the 4-yard line going in down by 6. So that's just the way it goes. And you got to make sure that that you don't help. And that's kind of been our theme. We don't want to help our opponents. We want to, whatever happens, let's make them earn it. And you have to protect football, and you got to get a few too.
Art, you mentioned that to get to a level, sometimes the respect level, it's an 8 to 12-year process. This is, I think, your 8th year. Is part of that a year like this where you have to face adversity and how you grind through it? Can you gain respect from that as well?
I think so. Really, I think our process probably started in about 11, quite honestly, Smoke, just because, 8, 9, and 10, I mean, we're hoping and hanging on, and just looking for any little bright light that could give us a little momentum, and then we finally got a little bit, and then now we're trying to, become an established program, which I think does take an 8 to 10-year process. So I think we're on about year 5, and we've got a long way to go to get to where we need to get to really be respected on a national level. But, the respect deal, it's kind of like I've told the players, I don't want respect for win the Heisman in 2011. I don't want respect for win the conference championship in 13 and 14. I want this team to have respect. I want those guys in that locker room to earn respect for themselves and for what they've done. So this is all about renewed respect for our football team, and there's only one way to get it, and that's, to play really well when you have opportunities, and we're going to have an opportunity at 5:30 tomorrow.
Art, what have you seen from North Carolina?
We could have done this in Waco, couldn't we, huh? I mean, just about. Yes, sir. John, sorry.
What have you seen from North Carolina's defense, and how do you feel like you guys' defense has been playing recently?
I mean, every team's it's ebb and flow, offensively and defensively. It's all about the matchups in football, and us defensively, I think we've played well. I really do. I think we've done a good job down the stretch, and haven't countered on the other side of the ball where other times it's been the other way around. So you have to play together as a football team. I mean, North Carolina defensively, really, really good. I mean, we knew coming in they had big people that could, really move and make plays, and seeing them in person, it's the reality. They got good bodies now, and we knew that coming in because, like I mentioned, when I was in Conference USA, we played East Carolina. The East Coast guys are big. I mean, that's just the way it is. And they and Gene, like I said, he's done a great job for them this year, and they're really, really sound. They're a good football team, and you don't win 11 games and go 11-2 and lose the number 1 team in America, by 8 points and be number 10 in America without being really good. They're a really good football team, led by number 12, and he's a really good player on offense.
Any other questions for Coach Briles?
Coach, kind of a non-football question, but just being in Orlando and Florida, I mean, I don't know this personally. Have you ever been to Orlando or to Florida and done the whole experience with Disney World and Universal and things like that? And have you since you've been here?
Well, I mean, the both those questions is a no-no. I mean, I haven't before, and I haven't this time. But hopefully, after being here and really seeing how great it all is, that I'll be able to come back as a tourist and really, get to enjoy the the city, because it is a great city. I mean, I've had my eyes have really been open. They do a great job here.
Coach, with Texas having a down year and some of the other programs within the state not playing as well. Do you also see this as an opportunity to get to the 10 wins and kind of view it as a recruiting tool for the program, being on national television, potentially getting a win?
Yeah, I mean, it's always about recruiting, and that's a process that's really week to week, So, there are some schools in the state that are doing really well, and it's always a constant battle, but we just don't recruit against those in-state schools. I mean, we've got all the surrounding states, and then if you'll check rosters over the next 10 days, you'll see Texas kids all over the nation. So it's, we're recruiting against, everybody in America, and that's just the way it is. They do the same thing here in Florida. There's Texas, Florida, and California that are that way. And so it's, it's all about what we can do and what we can control, and we got to control how we play and how we represent.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all very much.